Chef Jason Parsons is back with a seasonal, beautiful bruschetta. So here's what you'll need to make it yourself. Sourdough bread, soft butter, butternut squash, tomatoes, walnuts, shallots, garlic, red Thai chilies, fresh basil, extra virgin olive oil, some Sauvignon Blanc, goat cheese, cream, and salt and pepper. How do we start the recipe?
Yeah, it's a really easy recipe actually, and all you do is you start off with butternut squash, but I've actually blanched this first because you don't want to be well, you don't want to crunch on some butternut squash. But the great thing about blanching it in advance, and that is just literally boiling water, salt, dropping it in, is you can cook it to exactly the texture you want, nice and soft, and then you shock it in ice water and you end up with beautiful bright flavor like that. And then you go to your classic ingredients, which are the tomatoes. You can leave the seeds in if you want, but I like to take the seeds out. I just think it makes it a little bit more clean, a little bit more refined. But if you don't have a lot of time, just chop up your tomatoes, that's fine. Garlic, again, we need some bite to this, so get a lot of garlic in there, all right? And, I've chopped it up quite fine because you want an even distribution on this one. I know sometimes I say you can leave it a little chunky, but with this one, we want it quite fine, okay? Shallots, I know I've got shares in shallots, I got a farm somewhere, but I love shallot, just a delicate flavor. I know it's the shallots. So add a lot of onion in here, right? So we're mixing all that together. This is where it goes off the rails a little bit. Toasted walnuts. I mean, I just think that, it adds a fun, interesting texture to it. You got a crunch to it, and it's fall, so get some walnuts in there. I would put them all in. All right, like that. And then your typical bruschetta is basil. I've got these beautiful little micro basil sprouts, so you can put that in there. Or if you've just got your typical fresh basil, you can chop that up. Not too fine though. We want a nice texture of the basil in there. The tomato, you bite into it, it's refreshing, so you add a little bit of Thai chili, and you can see seeds and all just chopped down. I mean, the Thai ones these ones aren't that spicy, right? They just give it a little bit of a bite, but it just brings it to life, okay? And then what we're gonna do is, of course, add some wine. We're in the middle of wine country here, so a nice fresh Sauvignon Blanc, just drizzle some of that over there. Normally you could use a little bit of white wine vinegar, or even like a white balsamic vinegar. You can even use a regular balsamic vinegar. A little bit of extra virgin olive oil, and we're kind of making a dressing around the ingredients here just to kind of bring it together. You can already see the beautiful shine, some nice salt in there, a little bit of white pepper, but you can use any pepper you like, and you just bring it all together. And that is your basic bruschetta mix. You can use that, I mean, if you're having a dinner party, you can just put that in the middle and have some crackers, and away you go. But we want to take it to the next level. So now we're actually going to use our bread. And look at the big crusty bread.
Oh,
I love that.
Yeah, baby.
This one,
That's good.
And this one I've used like a nice sourdough bread. So what I've done is I've just cut it in half, just marked it on the grill, and then I brush it with some butter, and you get this nice crispy bread going on. All right? And here's a tip. If you make bruschetta, you put it on the tray, you put it all on top, it falls over all the time. So I've taken tin foil and crimpled it up and pushed that in. It gives me a nice base.
Ah.
Right? And then that way when I take all my mix, look, it sits nice and flat, right on top. If some fall off, who cares? It's on the side, right? But you just pile it on there. Look at that. It already looks good. Just, boom, like that. But then we need the cheese. Now you can mix a little bit of cheese into this if you want, but what I've done is what you call a goat cheese creme. And that's just simply taking goat cheese and a little bit of cream, and you mix it up and you get this beautiful creamy texture. I could take this goat cheese and crumble it on, but what I'm gonna do is just spoon this on. Look at that. And you can even thin this down a little bit more and put it in a squeezy bottle and just kind of do a little, zigzag over top. It makes it easier to work with because crumbling all over the top, this is just a little bit more creamy texture. And you just pop that right in the oven. So, of course, I got my trusty little pizza oven here. So let's take a look at this.
Oh, I can't wait to see it.
All you're doing is leaving it in there long enough to warm everything through, and you just melt it down, and oh yeah. How does Randy say, oh my stars?
Oh my stars. Once again, he didn't just come up with a little crostini. He did a whole half of a loaf of bread, and I love you for that, Jason. Of course, you can find his recipes on our website, cityline.tv. So